Thank you for listening to Comics for Fun and Profit. This is episode number 451 with your sneak peek at next week. But before myself, Drew, and Eric get into what's coming out in your local comic book shops, April 18th, 2018. Drew, I got some news for you. Eric, I got some great news for you. We've got a couple more iTunes reviews.
Wow.
Looks like we got 3 more ratings, 2 more reviews. So, you know, we opened the floodgates the prior week, so that's awesome. So first one comes from Paul K3, and it says, great podcast, good mix of fun of reading and speculation. I found Drew over at the comic page, but am enjoying his podcast just as much. Thanks.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Paul K3. We appreciate that.
And this next one comes from Andy Graham 79 that says, there are other Spec podcasts out there, but this is the only one I've found with hosts that actually seem to enjoy reading the comics themselves and appreciate the storytelling and art. These are 2 good guys who are informative and entertaining. Plus, they give you a heads up on great deals from comic shops, just like Kowabunga.
Yeah.
Very cool. Nice.
I did not pay for that either. That was great.
So Paul and Adam, did I say Andy? Adam, I really appreciate the feedback. Really appreciate the 5 stars. So somebody also left us, it looks like a 5-star review, but just didn't feel like saying anything, and that's okay too. So we thank you guys for supporting us and for saying kind things to us, and hopefully that, like we say, rises us in whatever algorithm Apple is choosing to use in any given week, and more people find us because we want more and more people in our community and more people hopefully helping us spec on what the next big thing is.
So it's Adam Graham?
Yep.
Adam Graham. Okay, well, thank you, Adam Graham. Aaron Churchill sends us an email and says, I'm sure you know this, but Joelle Jones is writing a new Catwoman series. I guess those Batman issues will be worth a little more than you thought or worried about, according to the last podcast. I missed a panel, but it all makes sense. When I was getting my stuff signed by Joelle, they're on a first-name basis. I'm jealous. I was talking about how much I like Jamie S. Rich's writing. We then talked about how connected they had been over the years. She's drawn a few of his Oni and Dark Horse work. Then she smiled and said it was really funny he was editing her work after all these years. It totally slipped past me that he wasn't editing the Batman books. Now I get it. Pretty cool. Glad I got those issues signed and picked up the C2E2 exclusive cover and signed, and it got it signed. That just might see a spike come July. Thanks. I knew nothing about those until your podcast and wouldn't have thought to pick them up without listening to you, although I messed up and didn't get to. Now, how long do you recommend I hold on to it? Can't wait to hear your answer next Saturday. Well, that's cool. You got that exclusive cover. That was like that foil wedding cover. That did look pretty sweet. And that one I'm a little jealous of. And that and some of the other wedding covers, as long as the wedding goes off and they're actually married for a while, I think you can hold on to them for a while. I don't think it's a quick flip. Do you? Anyone else?
I would say hold them for now. I'm firmly in the camp of I hope they don't kind of sideswipe us and something comes up and the wedding gets canceled or whatever. I hope they go through with it. I hope that there's some good story beats that come of it. I don't expect it to last forever, but from my standpoint, I personally, as a reader, I'm looking forward to it. And as far as those books' value goes, one thing that we've noticed with the Graffiti Designs DC foil covers from their conventions, they do them usually at San Diego, WonderCon, Emerald City, C2E2, basically the Reed Pop shows and in San Diego, is by and large, they don't really ever lose their value. Typically, the covers are $15. Every once in a while, you'll get a $20 one. And then maybe if there's some leftovers, you might get a $10 one, depending on how far along it's been. But they usually don't really ever lose their value. So as far as Hold'em, in my opinion, you don't really have anything to lose. You might as well hang on to it, especially if it's signed by Joelle. That's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, I'm curious how the signature worked on that foil cover. Probably really pops.
I've seen a couple, and it looks really good. And the nice thing is that the foil that they use for these covers is, it's kind of like a matte foil as opposed to like a super high gloss. Because, like some of the books, like All-Star Batman #1, it wasn't a foil cover, but it was just so glossy that depending on how fresh and good that Sharpie was that they used to sign it, sometimes it kind of like bubbled or beat it up because it was hard to retain the ink on it.
Yeah.
These foil ones don't seem to have as much of an issue with it. I've not personally had any of my foil covers signed that I've ever picked up, but definitely, to me, a higher quality than some of the glossy paper that are out there.
Kyle, what did we get at C2E2? We got a couple of fools. I know I got a Super Sons and I got a Batman button.
And a redneck.
Then we got the button, the first button, I think.
Yeah, we got the button, and then it was redneck was the other one.
And I flipped all of those pretty quickly and didn't hold on to them. So that's what I did then. So I'm kind of giving you different advice now, but yeah, I just think the wedding stuff is it might be really cool. It might have a long tail. So I'd stick around, and I would be personally disappointed if after this long great build up and we've been kind of invested in this relationship, if for something does happen to get derailed, unlike Eric, I hope they don't do that. I hope it goes off without a hitch, or it goes off. There might be a hitch, but
yeah, I'm looking for a little long term on that too. I think it's going to be a little bit more in flash in the pan, and I'm hoping they do some fun stuff with it.
Yeah. Kyle, you took a stab. March Madness is now over.
It is.
Go Villanova Wildcats. Is that who?
That is who won? You are correct.
Once the Chicago school was out, I was done.
Once Loyola got bounced, we immediately jumped on whoever's bandwagon would have us.
But you got the Dynamic Forces March Madness box, and it's what, a handful of variants in there, and you don't know what you're going to get. How's that work?
It was two. It was something. While perusing the previews, it was two random Dynamic Forces covers. And I think after the break, it was about $20. And I thought, okay, we'll take a shot at something here. Just kind of the fun of the randomization of it. Hoping to get something neat, number one, and not something kind of off the kilter. But I was a little disappointed, to say the least.
Okay,
so,
what did you get?
I got, you know that Iron Man from several years ago where Tony Stark was a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one on the cover. I got one of those. Issue 9 variant. That much sought after Iron Man issue 9. And it's got the diaper baby and then the Iron Man helmet for the Dynamic Forces. Limited to 1 in 3,000, but nobody seems to care about that one. Those ones haven't sold online for quite some time now. So nothing there. And then the other one I'll probably give to you because it's Charmed.
Oh, nice.
Issue number 4. And the Virgin Joe Caroni cover. Virgin cover. Again, another one that hasn't moved. So, yeah, I got fleeced. It sucked.
So not worth $20?
No, I got two covers that I would not have paid cover for.
Okay.
But it was a shot in the dark. I thought maybe I'd get something that was still laying around.
Now you know.
Yep.
Buyer beware on those.
So,
you just never know what you're going to get.
I thought it would be fun, but yeah, it was two things completely dumb and out of my wheelhouse. So
you get your receipt and you could give that back to.
That's right. I'm gonna repack.
Hey, the Inkwell Award voting is going on from now until the 15th. Oh, that's tomorrow. It closes tomorrow, so when you're listening to this, it'll be today. So you better hop on right away and vote. And so it's all about anchors, and the first category is favorite anchor, and the people that are going to be nominated are John Dell for Clone Conspiracy, John Floyd for Wonder Woman, Jonathan Glapion.
Are they all Johns?
They're all John. Action Comics, Dark Knight Metal, and Reborn. Mick Gray for Superman Justice League. Dan Green for the Sandman Special, and Scott Hanna for All New Wolverine and a ton of other things. Seth Mann for Batman Trinity, and Bill Sienkiewicz for Batman Black Racer and Shiloh Norman Special plus Deathstroke. You can guess who I voted for on that category?
It
Only
must have been a John.
No, it was Bill Sienkiewicz. Then they have one that's called Most Adaptable. It's the artists showing exceptional ink style versatility over other pencil artists. And they have to have done at least two books. It's, again, Jonathan Glapion, Scott Hanna, Jay Leister, Mark Morales, Dexter Vines, and Walden Wong. And they all have a ton of books to their credits. No, I've heard of Dexter Vines. The other guys, unfortunately, these inkers don't jump out at me as far as recognition. And I feel like I've kind of don't know enough about inking, I guess. The favorite small press mainstream independent inker, Sal Buscema for ROM, Irene Flores for High Five Fight Club, Stefano Goduino for Manifest Destiny and Walking Dead, Mark Morales for Immortal Brothers, The Tale of the Green Knight, Rodney Ramos for Normandy Gold, Robin Riggs for Black, and Ryan Wynn for Eternity. So there's some at least some books that the inking doesn't take away from the book. It's something that they either add to it or help. Then there's this all-in-one award, which is the favorite artist known for inking their own pencil work. And that's Mitch Gerrits over at Mr. Miracle, Joelle Jones, Lady Killer 2, and Batman, David Marquez, Civil War 2, Terry Moore for Motor Girl, Dan Panosian for Slots, Stan Sakai for Usagi, Liam Sharp for Justice League Wonder Woman, and Miko Swayan for Bloodshot Salvation. So that's the biggest category with the most name recognition for me, and that would be a real tough one to call.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed that they left one off of the last one, the all-in-one. They left Ethan Van Sciver off, which I think is kind of a shame. He's been doing
his own work.
He inks his own work, and that has in the past led him to issues with getting things done on time. And he has been newly committed to keeping his deadlines with his Green Lantern book right now, and he's kept his deadlines. He does one issue a month, and his pencils and inks are just freaking outstanding. And then he also did the Green Lantern Dark Knights Batman analog book and created that character design, and it's fantastic. So I'm a little bummed that he's not on this list. But
he did Green Lantern. He did Green Lantern forever.
Yeah, Green Lantern. He did Flash Rebirth, also with Jeff Johns.
I didn't know he was doing some of the other stuff you mentioned. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and as a aside, if anybody wants to kind of see how he does stuff and hear him, he actually has a YouTube channel now where he actually has done teaching kind of things through YouTube, where he shows how he does his drawing and his inking. He explains why he does it a certain way. And then the other big part of it is he interviews other industry folks. Dan Slott was one of the folks. I think Mark Waid was another one. And they just talk comics. They talk about creating comics. They talk about them from different angles. So I would just say, if anyone's interested in that, go ahead and check it out. But my vote goes to Joelle Jones.
Yeah. She's had a pretty good year. Let's see. It's numbers time, and before we hop over onto Comic-Con, they also announced that they have started a YouTube channel, and for this month's sales numbers, the guy John Jackson Miller over at Comic-Con will be has a couple of YouTube episodes discussing the numbers, basically like a PowerPoint with him narrating. But if you want to hear a little more in depth into the numbers, you can find it out that way. I got a chance to listen to a little bit of it. It sounded pretty cool, and I haven't had a chance to hear the whole episode yet. But so check that out. And
so, out of curiosity, does that mean that I'm gonna have to start wearing a shirt and tie to these episodes? Are you guys gonna do a YouTube thing too?
I don't think so.
I mean, I suppose I could get a dickie. I don't have to go full on with the tie.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. No, I don't think we're ready. I don't think we're ready for prime time quite yet.
No.
Okay.
Kyle would have to shave his beard.
Oh my goodness, we don't have enough time.
Take us to Comic-Con, Kyle.
All right, let's head over to Comic-Con. We're going to look at March numbers. And Drew, I think you were correct. I forced you into picking 3 of them, and it looks like we had 3 different items over 100,000.
Yeah.
And a fourth one knocking on that door.
Yeah, right there on the door with Weapon H.
I was hesitant to pull the trigger on Amazing 797. Probably should have known better with the Red Goblin frenzy. So Dark Knight's Metal did 187,000. It has really not waned much. His sales are there. Doomsday Clock at almost 150 at 149,581, and that's the 4th issue there. And Amazing Spider-Man 797 did 128,189.
I want to say with Dark Knight's Metal issue 5 being the low point of the series at 166. So everything else, big numbers on Dark Knight's Metal.
Yeah, that's a weird drop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weapon H came in 4th place, and it did 98,600. Batman 42 in 5th with 93,825. Mighty Thor 705. I believe that finally was the death of Thor, and that was 93,082. Infinity Countdown number 1 comes in at 7th. Rank 7 with 93,029. A lot of heavy hitters right there in the 90s. Batman 43 comes in at 91,000 in 8th place. Oblivion Song debuts with 80,287 in 9th place, and Batman White Knight rounds out the top 10 with 75,396. So, pretty good top 10, pretty healthy. A lot of stuff in the 90s. And it just kind of drops off there towards the end. Anything stick out at you there or outside the top 10 that you want to note?
Yeah, of course, with Oblivion Song, we have 80,287, and we know there's actually more than that printed because we talked about the overprint on that because Oblivion Song was committing to not doing a second print. So, although it looks like we probably sold, we've shipped 80,000. I'm guessing that number's closer to 90 or 100.
Well, if it's 90, then they're going to have to go to a second print because that's not going to be enough to fill reorders.
Oh, I'm sure they printed north of 100,000 of it.
Yeah, so? I would think there'd be an extra 40,000 copies beyond that, so that if they were going to try to avoid multiple printings.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that Kirkman bumps Kirkman out of the top 10. His Oblivion Song bumped Walking Dead out.
Yeah.
Kirkman on Kirkman crime.
Yep.
Yeah, 177 came right outside there with 74,000, which it's right in. It's been pretty solid in the 70s for a while, which is cool.
A lot of people picking up. Well, I'm sorry, I'm skipping down. I'm not talking about top 10. Never mind.
No, go right ahead. Jump to whatever.
I was just looking at Action 999, continuing to creep up a little bit in anticipation of 1,000. So a few people jumping on that. I want the one before that one as well. Train. And Eric, I think you had a lot to do with the True Believers Venom vs. Spider-Man at rank 13.
We did a little damage with it. And it went back for a second print.
Comic, right?
Yeah, and then going to a second print, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really healthy number for a second printing.
We may have done some damage, but Drew, you did some damage yourself with it.
Yes. I helped.
Saga 50. A few people jumping on for the 50th issue, so it's up 18%. Grabbing that 50 in those Virgin cover Bs.
Trying to see if I can't get the numbers for Doomsday Clock 3. I know Doomsday Clock 2 is around 158. 4's at 149.5. I'm just interested to see how this is going to play out over time with the announcement of going from just 2 books that were delayed to an every other month layout now. So kind of keeping an eye on that. I know for some folks it's kind of a a little bit of a momentum killer, and they may switch and abort to a trade. So we'll just kind of see. That's a number though I'd keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's didn't hurt metal, the long delay for 6. So now that we know it's going to be a long, sustained series of delays, why do you want to wait? That's a good call. I'll be curious. I would imagine there's going to be some definite attrition as we go along.
Right.
So the weekly Avengers comic, 683 hitting at 44,651, and then 684 jumping 10,000 books to 54,000, and then 685 plummeting right back down to 46,000, and 686 down under those, all three of the previous ones at 44,596. So a lot of jumping around for 4 titles within 1 month on that Avengers series, with 684 being an additional 10,000 print over its other 3 cohorts.
That's is that because of the Immortal Hulk thing?
Yeah, it was the Banner Hulk returns.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see if there's anything else that is jumping out at me. Actually, one thing that did surprise me is that we had a Damnation Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider one-shot. That was at 61. It surprised me that it was only 29,562, considering all the heat behind the Cosmic Ghost Rider, and the Doctor Strange Damnation title has been, very steady. Just one of those things that I thought maybe it'd be a little bit higher, but was not to be.
Not to be.
A good first step for Gideon Falls from Image Comics at rank 44, 33,537 for its first issue. A pretty good number for that.
Yeah, that's really a healthy number, and I don't know if that's because of the success of Royal City or something else, because Royal City's really not that successful. It doesn't sell that well. So I'm not sure what drove that up.
Well, I think you had a couple of things. I think, first of all, Jeff Lemire. That's always going to be kind of a known quantity, and he's been gaining steady, I think, some steady momentum with his Dark Horse work. So adding on top of that, the other work that he's done helps keep him kind of pushing forward. And then this book, I think, had 4 covers as well. It had a regular, a cover B, a cover C. One of those covers, I think it was the cover B, was a Lemire cover, had a cover C, and then I think it had a Virgin wraparound as well. So you have 4 covers to help bolster it. So I think issue 2 will be the proof to see where we're at with the numbers for sure.
Yeah, because there was no Royal City this month.
Right, and it's a number 1, so people tend to order heavier on Image number 1s, trying to hit first appearances, if the rights get sold, things like that. So you've got that working in it. Plus it's Lemire, again, another known quantity that's going to help push that. So I think that we're probably, if I was to make a guess, we're going to see a drop of 10,000 next month. Get it down to the low 30s.
Yeah, 20s. Yeah, we'll be lucky to be in the 20s next.
Yep, sorry, 20s.
But I'd like to see, because we got the second issue of Kick-Ass, the second issue of Hit Girl, and I know those are known quantities, and Mark Millar associated and everything. So they're still in the 20s.
I'd say though there's
number.
a difference. There's a difference with Mark Millar. I think a lot of people are onto the game of pump and dump with IP with him, and a lot of stories going unfinished. So I think that I think honestly there's some people that are just sitting back with Mark Millar and saying, I'll just pick up the trade.
Yeah,
I think was he the one that did Chrononauts?
Yeah,
yes.
Chrononauts and
Yep.
Hawk.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was the one that I think a lot of people got really peeved with, because people were loving it and then it just stopped. And it was enough to get the IP sold, and that was it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there might be a little bit of, at least in our shop, I know that there's a few folks that have said, yeah, I'm kind of done buying his ongoing, because I get it sucked into a story and then it never finishes.
Well, Chrononauts was 10 issues. It was pretty solid.
I think there was still a lot of story left to tell.
Huck was 5. Starlight was 5 or 6. There's a ton of those that are, nice nice trades, but yeah, he doesn't seem to want to return to a lot of them, and yeah, I can see that with a lot of Image stuff and folks doing that. I hate to see that because I like comics and them coming out every month and reading them every month, but I understand it.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's something that a Jeff Lemire, a Kieran Gillen, folks like that, they tell their story, right? Wicked and Divine's on issue 35, 36, something like that. Royal City's going strong. But I'm just saying, you know, there's a built-in trust with a creator who's going to carry through and finish the story they want it to be finished. Obviously, a BKV, Robert Kirkman. I mean, these are names, these are big names, no different than Millar, especially in Kirkman's case in my books. And yet people are going to stick with them because they know they're going to tell the full story. And they're going to choose to get off because the reader wants to get off, not because the creator stops the creation.
Yeah, and Lemire's other book, Descender, was on the charts with its 28th issue. So
yeah.
And of course he has long runs of things at Valiant as well. So yeah, I get that. More people willing to trust him as an ongoing creator. I mean, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Another one who I think will start to get to that level, he certainly, with his readership, has gained full trust, and his pure output is Cullen Bunn. A lot of people who are in for a penny on Cullen Bunn are in for a pound. He tells great stories. A lot of them are a little bit more mature, darker in tone and content, but he is one of those guys where he's earned the trust because he puts out his stories. He puts out his issues. I mean, I think in 1 month of previews, he had 6 or 7 books solicited across 4 or 5 publishers. And the guy's a workhorse. He's a beast. And, that's the kind of thing that people are, I think, getting more and more drawn to is, can you meet your deadlines? Can you put it out? And do I not feel cheated that the story ended too soon?
Yeah. I think he's the only one putting anything out at Avatar right now, it seems like.
Aftershock, too. He's got a lot of Aftershock books.
Mm-hmm.
And Harrow County's coming to a close.
He's got 1 or 2 Boom titles, I think, as well. So, sorry, that was a tangent. I just thought I'd toss that in there.
It makes a lot of sense. Image is high of 2012 to 2015 or so, where they could really do no wrong. Has soured in a lot of people's minds now. Maybe because they're putting out 60 books a month, so there's a lot more to choose from. So you either keep going with this ongoing that you like, or try something new, if you have a limited time or budget for those things. So I want that heyday for me, a 3-year heyday when, Saga was crushing and Southern Bastards and everything that was coming out that was just amazing and groundbreaking stuff. We're away from that now. There's still a lot of good stuff. It just comes out more sporadically, and there's some clutter there. There's some stuff that's not groundbreaking and amazing. It's just okay, which we have that at other publishers, but for some reason, you hear a lot more about Image's kind of fall from grace as kind of being the next great member of the big 2, big 3 type thing.
For me, the biggest thing with Image is all of the, in my mind, perceived hidden minis, things that come out and are solicited as ongoing, but are the very next couple previews come out as capped at 6 or capped at 7, capped at 8.
Yeah.
That just rubbed me the wrong way and has actually prevented me from jumping on several titles.
Yeah. I get it. I know why they do it. I don't agree with it either. And it's quite possible that if that number 1 issue sells twice the number that it does, that they don't in subsequent months put that of 5, of 6 on there. It could be all sales driven, that they have multiple story arcs to tell, but they can get out whenever they can get out, depending on what the sales arc is going. And they have a crack sales staff there that knows if you sell this, based on attrition, this is where it's going to end up by the time you get to this issue. So how long do you want to do it? If standard attrition applies, how long do you want to do it before you start losing money? I understand it completely. I just don't like it.
No, I hear you. I know for us in the store, when it comes to ordering, especially comes to ordering things like image titles, we tend to go pretty close to pre-orders. If it's something like a Lemire, like Gideon Falls, we definitely ordered a handful of extra for the shelf to try and let people get hooked onto them. Obviously, Kirkman, we're going to order extra. BKV, we're going to order extra. Ed Brubaker, we're going to order extra. But a lot of other folks, we're not going to. It for the first issue, it may be, 2 issues extra that we get for the shelf, and by the time we hit FOC for number 2, we may not order any extra and just have folks let us know if they like number 1 and they want number 2. We'll go ahead and add it because chances are they're not going to sell out of it right away if it's a book that isn't getting a lot of buzz. Obviously, if it's getting a lot of buzz, we would know and we'd make an adjustment. So, but there's one that I found on this list that I wanted to call to your attention, Drew, number 217. It's the first issue out of Image that you really liked, Dry County.
Yeah.
Print run, or I guess I should say invoiced sales to retailers of 7,017. So pretty small print run.
And I read the second issue since then, and it's good. It's got a really unique storytelling style where it's like pages ripped from a diary in between the panels. So there's kind of like a journal element to it, as well as cartooning and dialogue balloons. So it's kind of interesting. It's the second issue held up. It was good, but not quite as good as that first one. So we'll see where that goes. But 7,000 is a good number if it catches.
Agreed.
Moon Knight stays above 20,000 for one more month at rank 106. 20,383.
What issue number?
193.
Ugh. Ugh.
Will we make it to 200?
Man, it's going to be a challenge. Marvel's leaves the stuff out a little below the Mendoza line than they used to, but man, it get to 20,000, it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how much more patient they can be. That stinks. 20,000?
No, you're still above for now.
Yeah, 383 copies more. So 194 is going to drop below. And that was such a long arc. It was such a long that Sun God Ra arc, just way too long. You could have done that in 3 issues. Which, you can say that about most of these.
Mm-hmm.
The final issue of Jessica Jones, Brian Michael Bendis's anyway. He says goodbye to that character with a really great final issue, and it sold 17,000 copies.
Boy, I tell you, Drew, this is a book you and I read. I think we talk about it every time I'm on with you, and for folks that hear it, I'm sorry for repeating it, but Jazz Maynard is so good, and the Jazz Maynard Volume 2, Issue 2, invoiced sales of 773 copies.
I don't understand that.
It's so dang good.
It's way better than 700 copies worth, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Down at rank 220, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur 29. That is your first appearance of the new Fantastic Four, I believe. Only 6,717, so a very small print run. Of course, we talked a lot about number 28 with a print run of 6,600. Was the first appearance of
Omnipotentus or whatever.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. So super small runs, super desirable books, and collecting at least double cover on 29 and quite a bit more for 28 still.
So 28 was the first Fantastic Four? What?
29.
29 is the first appearance of the new Fantastic Four. Like, Fantastic Four is now back, And the first time you see them is this book with only 6,717 copies.
Huh. Well, Wolf is happy then that it's
I'm happy. Like I said, I picked up a bunch of those in Loyola. I picked up, a copy of 29 and 2 of 28. So I was able to snag a few of those before they disappeared.
Yeah, that's interesting. Weird book to debut the new Fantastic Four, though. But okay.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's 6,659. That's about the number of people that like Fantastic Four, so that makes sense to me.
Eric, you won't punch him through the mic?
I love the old original classic FF. I'm undecided on the new FF until I see what Slott does.
Yeah. I was a big fan of the last before they canceled FF and Fantastic Four. What Fraction was doing, I thought those were really good, but nobody was buying them. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, maybe.
There you go. One of the Comics for Fun and Profit speculation bundle picks come into me from Black Mask Studios, issue number 1, 4,499 issues of that. Already on the first issue coming in 2 weeks late, so come on, Black Mask, we've put our faith in you. Let's you're already behind the ball. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
And of course, Breathless also coming out from Black Mass. Just below that at 4444. Ballad of Sang from Oni Press at $2.79. I picked up some of that. It looked like a neat little story of a samurai kid. So neat to see. There's only 4,265. If something cool happens with that, a very small print run. So hopefully some additional copies of that keep going up.
Yeah. Are we ever going to see something launch at 5,000 copies, and then people get excited and start reading it, and it starts to climb, like Walking Dead did over time?
Yeah, the Why the Last Man's and the Walking Deads of the world.
Yeah, what's the last book that's kind of 10 issues in, it's better than it was when it started? I don't know if there's that many. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
I think with the way the current spec market goes on getting number ones, it's getting harder and harder to see.
I mean, even not speculation, though, people still sample books.
Right.
And they sample number one. Sadly, that's why Marvel slaps the ones on things every 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, I think the problem is the industry, and they, like, if you stayed with Walking Dead, the numbers didn't jump that high even through the first 10 issues, I don't think.
No, it took like 40, I think, to build.
So I think if that trend were to continue in 2018, that book would have, they would have gone to Kirkman and said, hey, we recommend you renumber this and start over, or relabel it, or take it to Aftershock or something.
Or Adler would have said, well, let's do the trade break and take three months off so that we can put the trade out so I can get caught up. And they wouldn't put books out every month like they did for a while. Or 3 times a month, even. I think that's everything that's jumped out to me. Anything else for you guys?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well,
good numbers. A few of the things I'm looking at are some smaller numbers. Your Squarriors on here.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was tiny.
Stabity Bunny number 3 on here. That's another one. Where's that guy? Stabity Bunny. Yeah, 338. 3,000 copies I see on the mighty eBays. I'm seeing a copy of it that went for $8 plus $4 shipping.
Yeah, it's still
throw up the Stabity run.
It still gives. It still keeps giving. Kyle, you called that. I was a naysayer. Before we hop on to the FOC for the week, the final order cutoff list, because of the popularity of our previous variant bundles, the good folks at Kowabunga have agreed to roll out another batch for us this month. So, Eric, you got some details on what we're doing?
Sure do. So, those of you that listen that are part of our monthly subscriber list, you've already seen a lot of those prices. I'm actually happy to announce that we're going to cut them a little bit farther based on some of the promotional work that Marvel is doing. We are going to give a little bit more of a discount. So I'll be sending an email out in the next day or two just highlighting what those price drops are for all of you. But for everybody who is not and who's interested in listening, I'm just going to start at the top, and that's basically, we're going to start on my top of my list, which is Thor number 1. We've got a Ward 1 in 25 variant. That one we are selling for $42. We've got a RIBIC 1 in 50 variant that we are selling for $80. Let's see what else we got here. We've got a Thor KIRBY Remastered 1 in 500. We are going to sell that baby for $675. Our distinguished competition over at DCBS is at $1,100. And Thor number 1 KIRBY Black and White Remastered 1 in 1,000. We are going to sell that at $1,260. And again, our distinguished competitors are at $2,400. So almost double what we are. All right, leaving Thor, we'll go to Tony Stark Iron Man number 1. We have an Adi GRANOV 1 in 25 variant. We've got $45 on that one. Tony Stark Iron Man number 1 Ross variant 1 in 50. We've got $67 and a mighty 50 cents on that. And then a 1 in 100 Aja variant also for that Iron Man number 1. And that one we're at $135. Moving right along, we've got Immortal Hulk number 1. We have a Clayton Crane 1 in 25 variant for $45. A Dale Keown 1 in 50 for $67.50. A BUSCEMA Remastered 1 in 500 for $675. And a BUSCEMA Black and White Remastered 1 in 1000 for $12.60. We'll move down to Deadpool. We've got a handful of Deadpool books. There's a DEODATO 1 in 25. That's $45. A LIEFELD 1 in 25 for $45. A SKOTTIE Young 1 in 25 for $45. And an OPENA 1 in 50 for $72. And then we've got the two big ones, a LIEFELD Remastered 1 in 500 for $675 and a Black and White Remastered 1 in 1000 for $12.60. And then the last two that we have rounding out the list this month are Doctor Strange 1. We have a DELLOTTO variant 1 in 50 for $85 and a Chris BACHALO 1 in 25 for $42. So that is the list.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a healthy list. Are we doing complimentary cover A's this time?
Oh, you betcha. We're going to carry that practice on. It seems to be working well for everybody, so why would we change something that's working?
Okay, so free cover A plus your sweet variant for those prices. When I get the email, I'll add that into the show notes so that it's in there. Otherwise, you're going to have to listen to this if you want to capitalize on it this week, and as soon as I get that email, I will fold that into our show notes going forward until the deadline, which is going to be when?
Well, so our pre-order deadline is the 24th, but technically I can probably extend these orders just like the other ones up to the FOC date. So if you are on the fence and you don't know what you want to do and it's after the 24th of the month, just go ahead and let me know, and we'll make it work out, and I'll let you know if we still have some available.
Okay, so we've got about 9-10 days, really, to make it comfortably to guarantee that you've got those, but you might be able to get some of them otherwise, but especially those big ones.
Right.
To guarantee, you've only got 9-10 days to figure that out. So best way for them to get a hold of you and place that order?
Yeah, probably the easiest way is you can either send an order to or send a request to me, Eric, ERIC, at kowabungacomics.com, again, Kowabunga with a K, or you can look us up on Facebook, facebook.com/IncrediCow, send us a message, and if it's one of the variant ones, it'll be responded to by me. You can try and call the shop. That's hit or miss based on how busy we are. I would say with the move coming up, we've been starting to move some stuff over already. Shop calls can be a little bit tricky, so best to just send a message first, and I can always follow up with a call myself. Might be the easiest way to do it.
Very cool. That's awesome. We appreciate that. We appreciate it being exclusive for our listeners. That's pretty awesome. And we have to check and make sure we can take advantage of those deals. So if anything sounded cool, give Eric a call. Now let's head over to my favorite part of the week, and that's the FOC list. And you're not going to believe this, but I found stuff I want again.
Sweet.
I might as well just forget about. I'm just going to stop pre-ordering, and I'm just going to just place my orders on FOC. I think I'm doubling my order over the course of the month by just FOC and the heck out of this stuff. But one of the first things that popped for me was that second printing of Batman 44, which is a black and white version of the dress cover by Joelle Jones. So I got to have that for sure. That one was pretty sweet. And something I missed during the pre-order cycle is the Scooby Apocalypse 25 issue. It's going to spoil it if you're one of the other 7 Scooby Apocalypse readers like me. It's going to spoil it, but it's a character death. So one of the Scooby Gang dies in issue 25. So I'm definitely jumping on that. I got to have that. I think that'll be hot. I'm getting both covers.
Did you see the cover of Scooby Apocalypse that was in the previews catalog?
I must have missed it.
If that's what they solicited from the beginning, I'd have read that book. It is cool looking.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun read. I'm telling you, if you got through the corniness of the beginning, it's worth it. It's worth reading. There's another one. The Suicide Squad 41B cover was really a pretty sweet cover by Matina. And I just was looking at that thing and I was like, yeah, I got to have that. I don't really read Suicide Squad, but that cover made me pull the trigger. It was beautiful. There's jump in whenever. I'm just going to keep going.
I'm still up in Dark Horse, but why don't you rattle yours off and then we'll go back through.
And then there's a Maestro's Virgin wraparound cover for number 6. That is the Steve Scroce masterwork, man. It's just beautiful. So that's the cover B Virgin wrap, and I had to have that. And I think the last thing I had to have was the Medieval Spawn Witchblades that were a McFarlane cover and the black and white version of the McFarlane cover. They were really cool, and Todd McFarlane and I go way back. So I'm excited.
All the way back to, what was that, ASM 300?
It was like 298. Is that right?
Oh, and you skipped over 300. That's right. You got mad at him.
Yeah. I had it. I had a lot of those. Yeah. So I'm excited about what those are going to look like. I like Todd McFarlane, so I'm going to definitely grab those. I must have missed those in the pre-order cycle as well. So another 7 books that I missed in the pre-order cycle, but thanks to my LCS Kowabunga and the FOC list, I am able to fill that order, which is really cool. I love it.
And we fill it at the same percentage discount that we do when the initial solicit comes out. No hijinks, no games, no nothing. Same pricing.
Yeah. All right, I got excited. Now we can go talk about Dark Horse.
Yes. The most important book on this entire list. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just wanted to call attention to World of Tanks Citadel #1. This is, if you're a World War II fan, if you are a Garth Ennis fan, like his war stories, this is the Eastern Front 1943. It's a #1. It's starting out, and art is by P.J. Holden. Garth, if you're interested in war books, but you don't want to jump in too heavy, Ennis's stuff hits both the historically accurate side as well as the easy to consume side. it is something that you can read and understand and get in the mindset of, but not be burdened down with not knowing the history of every movement of every campaign that happened, whether he's in the Pacific, if he's in, the European front, if he's in Israel, if he's in the Cold War, doesn't matter. So if you're at all interested in it, I would definitely recommend World of Tanks Citadel #1.
And I believe a video game property as well.
I think so.
I've been a long-time reader of his War Stories books, and this last volume has, been 3-issue arcs and a different war story, some different campaign, different war, and it just kind of immerses you, tells the story. You're not in too long, and then moves on to another one. But it's really cool. In the absence of Sergeant Rock, it's the next best thing.
That was all I had for Dark Horse. Kyle, I don't know if you had anything up there.
Nah, nope.
Okay. If I jump into DC, the next thing for me is Batman the Dark Prince Charming, book 2 of 2. Those are the hardcover issues, and the first one was, not only was it visually stunning, the actual writing of it too was great. So looking forward to getting the second one and throwing it up on my shelf. I'm actually kind of crossing my fingers that it goes to a second print. I know it sounds ridiculous for a $12.99 single issue, I guess they're calling it, but they are definitely, it's like triple size. They're not skimpy issues. 64 pages, so triple size, and they have different art on each of the covers. So I got the first issue hardcover and love the Batman. He's kind of that classic Batman with the cape kind of coming up around his face. And then they did a second print, and I looked at the cover, and I was like, oh, damn it, now I got to buy this too because it's so cool. So I'm hoping that it goes to a second print for book 2, so I can have 2 sets. But that's me being an idiot. But gorgeous stuff. If you haven't tried it, check it out. It's really, really good.
I heard a ton about it when that first one came out. We talked about it possibly being under the radar, and I think Jason in Hawaii was big on that one, if I remember correctly. And once that hit shelves, a lot more people than wanted it beforehand wanted it as soon as they saw it.
Yeah, nobody knew what the heck was going on. It was like, what is this now? It's a hardcover comic, and it's not a full trade. It was a strange animal during the solicitation cycle, and it's cool that when it came out, it was worth the wait or worth checking out. Yeah,
no, it's fantastic. I think the next thing for me is down an Image, Kyle. So if you got anything in between, just jump in. Mm-hmm. First thing I'd say in Image is just awareness of Barrier 1 through 5. Those are the BKV books that were on Panel Syndicate being released. The Free Comic Book Day Barrier #1 is only the first 20 pages or something like that. Barrier 1 and Barrier 5 are both $4.99 issues, and they are each, I think, double size, 56 pages for issue 5, and the same thing for issue 1. So you're getting some pretty hefty book for the price point on those. So just a kind of a call out to awareness. And then shortly after that is Isola #1 went back to a second print. It's a black and white cover. I think it's cover A, just black and white tones with the red Isola logo on the top. And along with that, they're soliciting issue 2. That was a pretty popular book, sold out right away for us.
Yeah, it's weird that they're putting issue 1 and 2 of Barrier out on the same day.
Yeah, I think they wanted to try and squeeze it all out in 1 month. But yeah,
they didn't want to infringe on Free Comic Book Day, having it that week.
Right. Let's see. Down in the Marvel world, anything fun going on in there? All sorts of crazy.
Just your Venoms. We get a look at that J. Scott Campbell. It's a really neat cover.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. That's Donny Cates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How many did you guys end up getting of that?
Total? How many do we have on order?
Yeah.
Of all the covers,
wasn't there was there one in 1,000 for Venom?
Yeah, 1 in 1,000, 1 in 500. We've got like 1,100 copies of across all the covers.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so if you're looking for...
Donnie Cates was really excited about writing this.
So, yeah, actually... Oh, okay. So, talking with CB Cebulski and Jason Aaron at C2E2, or at the Diamond Retailer Summit, they were... Okay, I'll talk to you off air about something along those lines because it makes me laugh.
No, go ahead.
Well, okay, so first thing with that is they were saying that Donnie walked into one of their writing retreats when it came out that he was going to take over Venom, and he sat down and over the next 10-15 minutes literally rattled off an arc for arc plan for 100 issues of Venom.
Wow.
Almost the next 10 years of a monthly Venom book, and everybody at first thought he was joking when he said, I've got a plan. It's about 100 issues, about 10 years. And then by the end, everybody just kind of looked at him and was like, we're in.
That's amazing.
So
if you can get me to read Venom, that's pretty good.
And I guess so. The thing I was going to say that's kind of a side note is there's two pieces. Now, James and I know that we are incredibly, incredibly fortunate to be in the position we're in, obviously, to have the store, to be able to do things like this podcast, our podcast, all of those things, go to the retailer summits, and obviously meet the people that we meet. The thing that neither of us, I guess, ever anticipated or thought of was these comic creators, by and large, are not a-holes. They're not, self-important pricks kind of people. Like, you find a lot of sports stars that they talk in the third person. They don't really care. They put on a good show. I'm not saying all of them. There are many that don't, but you see that more often than not. And you kind of have this perception that with Hollywood and things like that, there's going to be a certain percentage of this top end talent that you see, or these seemingly important and integral people in the industry that they're not going to live up to expectations. And by and large with comics, that is so far from the truth. And case in point, Jim Lee. So when James and I started and went to our very first discussion with DC Comics, the thought that Jim Lee was there sent us into a tizzy. We didn't even know what to do. It was like, what's your pants? What do you do? It was so exciting. And as we were talking to other retailers and as we've continued to talk to them, he's been doing this for years with DC Comics. And it's not because they try and push out the celebrity. It's because he's a co-publisher. He cares deeply about the product that's out there. He cares deeply about the industry. And, I can't remember who it was. Somebody asked us, how exciting is it to meet Jim Lee? And my answer is, the first time you meet Jim Lee, it is one of the most exciting experiences as a comic fan that you'll have. It's Jim Lee. He sold 8 million copies of X-Men. I mean, come on. Mm-hmm. But every time after that, it's literally like, oh, we're going to go say hi to Jim today. It's just one of those things where he's just one of the guys. And it's just insane to think about that, but also really, really cool. And we met Jason and CB after their discussion, and it was literally that same thing. You never know how someone is going to be when you don't regularly talk to them. You've never met them before. You kind of have a perception in your mind, and it's just so amazing when you talk to them and they're like, oh, I actively care about your store. Send me emails, keep me informed. If you have concerns or questions, you can reach out to me. If you want to talk about doing certain things, we always want to help. We want to partner. Let us know. I mean, it's just like, it's a very different perception than especially I think what Marvel has gotten over the last couple of years. I think a lot of people have not necessarily cast Marvel in a great light. But for some people, I mean, Kyle, I know you were joking in jest with the name dropping thing, but some people may think that, and that's just not the case. When you get to know these people, they're just regular people. I'm sure people get really excited when they say, I got to see Drew and Kyle at C2E2 or something like that. and I'm not kidding. It's kind of that same thing. So, you guys should pat yourself on the back. And I think it's also a great thing for the industry that a lot of our top talent, a lot of our most influential and important people in the industry and the publishing, all of that kind of stuff are so approachable, so open to discussion, and really just genuine good people.
Especially if you're buying their books 1,000 at a time.
What's really funny is that the person that finds that kind of stuff out is David Gabriel, right? He's the sales guy, the vice president of publishing and sales. That's him. CB has no clue what the numbers are. We are comic shop A to the comic shop alphabet. It doesn't matter.
True.
And so to have him treat us the way he did was awesome.
Yeah. Most creators that I've met are pretty awesome. The ones that aren't are usually the ones you have to pay $500 for a VIP badge to see. Those guys probably less cool and approachable and want to hang out type of guys. But yeah, most of the creators on Arlish Alley I've always found to be pretty darn likable.
I agree.
And James and Eric, if you want to hear more about their Diamond Retailer Summit, episode 41 of their Cowcast, just hours after their final Retailer Summit meeting, they recorded a neat little podcast that goes a little bit more in depth into some of that. A really good one. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we have to get a C2E2 Friday recap for everybody. However, the day, so we were at C2E2 on Friday, came back at 2 a.m. Saturday after a few meetings that we had that went late into the night. Saturday morning at 9 a.m., we got the keys to our new store, and by 10:30, we already had boxes moved in. So we've been a little bit busy, but we do want to get that recording out there, and we'll work on that as quickly as we can.
That's right. That's this week.
The move is this week, starting this week, and then the soft opening is Wednesday, May 2nd, and the grand reopening is Free Comic Book Day, where we will have scads of sales and all sorts of good stuff going on.
Man, that's cool. Wish we had that bullet train from here to Milwaukee ready to go.
I think it's called Southwest Airlines.
That's true.
I think that's what they branded it as.
That's true. We could do
The
that.
Greyhound of the skies.
That's right. So we did kind of leave off in Marvel, and I'm going to call out a couple more things. So one of the books that we're kind of surprised about had relatively small initial orders compared to some of the other things is Hunt for Wolverine Adamantium Agenda number 1 of 4 for two reasons. Obviously, it's a Hunt for Wolverine, but the second and probably more shocking one is it's written by Tom Taylor. Which is a guy that people in our store they associate with. So we're kind of hoping that that one will pick up, not only for our sake, but for his sake, because he's a great writer.
And I wonder if it's because, well, I'm a little hesitant, a little gun shy that this is a prequel leading up to, whatever. We've been getting these little page teasers in all the books. Wolverine bouncing around looking for people, and all these Infinity things leading up to the Infinity movie. There's all these different variations that are coming out. So I wasn't really sure if this was actually going to be the right Wolverine to even read.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's the hunt for. Are they really going to find him? I don't know.
Right.
Crap! This is the one I was thinking about the other day and I missed. So Eric, I will be contacting you. The cover C on these, the Where's Wolverine, is the 1 in 4 that will follow all 4 that will make the giant Where's Waldo poster that I think looks really cool.
Yep, that is correct.
Crap. Okay, I'll be adding those late because I want those 4.
And it is only $3.99, which is not typical for
issue 1, $3.99. I'm sure 4 will be $9.
That's how they get you.
Those jerks. Other ones that I think I'll call out on here just for a couple of reasons. Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood hardcover. Drew, you raved about this run of Moon Knight. I picked up the first trade and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. So I decided I would hold off and buy the full collection. So I am getting this hardcover to go on my shelf because it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I blame you for that.
Only 6 issues? This collects 6 issues, or this collects 12?
14.
14, that's better. For $34.99, I was hoping.
Yep, 1 through 14, 320 pages.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
And it's on a deep discount through Kowabunga. If you're an omnibus fan, the Spider-Man vs. Venom omnibus is out for FOC. It is 1,160 pages, and it has that Spider-Man 300 in it, and just tons of other great issues. So for $125, that would get you, probably the maybe the coverless ASM 300, or maybe the front and back cover and no innards. So
Yeah.
just for that alone, might be worth picking up. Heck, if you get that, I'll throw in a True Believers ASM 300 reprint
Wow.
for you for free.
That's awful nice of you.
I know a guy who has 5 of them, so I can easily snag one from that pile.
Better not. Got plans for those.
Okay. You're going to frame one and put it in each room?
Yeah. Now,
And he just cries into one of them.
Star Wars Thrawn #4 is on here, and I just finished the 3rd issue. What a surprise for me, because I was getting a little Star Wars fatigue. Some of those minis had been missing for me, and this has been great. And something that I wish this was an ongoing. I had never even heard of this character, didn't know anything about the novels that existed, so I kind of missed out on that whole area of the universe. But this comic has been a really great adaptation, or inspired by that world, and Jody Howler's doing a great job on it, and something that I hope catches on, and maybe they can tell some more stories with this character.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, other than that, Drew, your Dodge City #3 is on here.
Yes.
That's a
Dodgeball,
good
baby.
one. I think there's nothing really much else on here as far as I'm concerned.
Nothing else from me either.
There's a Savage Tales Vampirella one-shot from Dynamite that is it's $4.99, 48 pages, and looks like it's just a kind of an old-time Vampirella, just a one-shot. So if you're a Vampirella fan out there, you might want to look at that. And then we've got a new Warhammer 40K mini-series starting of Warhammer 40K Death Watch 1 of 4. And that's actually become a fairly popular book for us in our shop. We obviously have Warhammer, but
so the guys come in, they play the game, then they go over to the comic rack and pull that off the shelf and buy it.
They do,
Cool.
and they were not aware of the comics. We got in a couple of one of the miniseries first issues. A guy saw it and went crazy, got it, showed all the other players. So now we've got a handful of folks that are getting it, and then on top of that, they are now reading comics in general. So they've branched out and started reading other publishers, other titles, things like that. So
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little gateway.
Because we're always like, well, why don't people go see the Marvel movies and rush out in droves to buy Avengers or Black Panther? But maybe there's other avenues like this where folks can get in and start reading, which is cool.
Yeah.
Anything else in FOC for either?
Nope.
All right, if FOC's done, let's head on over to our previews, our sneak peek. I'm going to previewsworld.com, clicking on new releases. I can't do anything without a table view, and we're looking at April 18th, 2018, this coming Wednesday. Drew and Eric, let's start where we always like to start, at least the last couple weeks, since they move things around on us a little bit. Let's start in Boom.
Hey, before we do that, you get the retail order form before everybody else, don't you?
I do.
And do you have any kind of inside dirt on what the order of the premier publishers is going to be for the next catalog?
I will not get that until Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I'm so nerdily curious as to because this last catalog that we have that we're working on right now to place our orders stuck Boom and Dynamite into the front half, into the premiere section, but after Marvel. And I think Dynamite was actually before Boom, so it didn't even go alphabetical with those two at the end. So I'm like, well, this it had to be deliberate, and I don't understand why. Like maybe they're rookies, and Dynamite's bigger than Boom, so that's why. So I'm really curious as to what that next catalog is going to look like. And I might be the only person that cares, but it still is of interest to me.
Yeah, I should have my first look, I think either this Tuesday or Wednesday.
Ooh. if you're not sworn to secrecy, give me a heads up on what that's going to look like.
Yeah, sure. Not a problem.
So Boom has Fence, number 5. My long-awaited...
An FOC incentive copy.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Means you can only get it on FOC.
Indeed.
So that was a few weeks ago. We could have FOC'd that incentive variant. Okay.
Yes.
And is Boom the only one really doing the FOC exclusives?
No, Image does that a lot.
Image
They
is doing
don't
it as well.
call it that though.
Correct. Like the first, what was it? I think the first 2 of the Walking Dead Sienkiewicz covers didn't make themselves available to FOC. In the Marvel has not done FOC exclusives, but what they have done is they've added covers after the preview solicitations came out. So I don't consider that the same, but they do add late variants.
And then customers find out because their retailer tells them.
So, I'm not really 100% sure how this is supposed to work. If the intent is, ooh, hey, retailers who pay attention to FOC, you can sneak a couple of these and maybe upcharge a little bit or something like that. Or if it really is meant for retailers, hey, heads up, this is an FOC cover that you can use in your store. I don't know. For us, we kind of take a look, and if we see one, we try and pass the word to those who we know would be interested in it. But yeah, and for anyone out there who orders through us, if you want the FOC list, I'm now getting into a weekly habit of sending it out because I've got a couple of people besides Drew and Kyle that get it. So if you want to be on that, that's fine, and you can add books to your list, not a problem. But yeah, so we just kind of treat it as a, oh hey, heads up, this is on here now, you may want to grab it.
But in the Marvel stuff, even though that would be on that list.
It would be on the FOC if it came out after previews, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's some of this inside baseball stuff's a little confusing.
It is. The only time that it's not on the FOC list is either A, if the publisher doesn't utilize FOC, which is pretty much probably 60 to 70% of the back half small publishers. But even then, some of them are starting to get into the FOC thing because they see it as a way to be able to bump numbers if there's awareness. So that's one reason. And the other reason would be if it's like those Young Gun Virgin variants that Marvel threw in. Those were free retailer books that were kind of like surprise goodies for us. So those aren't things that we could order any more of. And therefore, there's no reason to put it on FOC. So those are really the only 2 reasons why things wouldn't be on FOC.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I got nothing else in Boom.
Nope.
All right, let's head on down to Dark Horse.
Yeah, Black Hammer came back, and they felt they needed to renumber. Jeff Lemire did this. It's been a great series. I really enjoyed it. It was weird. It was weird the way the last volume kind of stopped, and then he did a bunch of these like offshoot miniseries that were 1 or 2 issues. It was just strange. But now it's back, and hopefully this is the whole gang together and kind of get back on track with this book because it's been really great.
And an awesome Scotty Young cover.
Oh, nice.
Anything else?
No.
Nope, not for me.
All right, let's head on down to DC, where Action 1000 will dominate the day.
Yeah, do you guys have a favorite cover? We've got all the A cover, and then the 30s, 40s, 50s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or if you're really a big fan, the Blink cover. Do you guys have a favorite?
I like the 2000s.
I kind of figured you'd be a 2000s guy.
I like the 80s.
Wow.
And I think everybody feels that the 30s and 40s covers does not necessarily represent the 30s and 40s enough.
Oh, I think the 40s does a great job.
40s does, actually.
Yeah. For me, my favorite is the 60s, and then followed quickly by the 40s. I like those two.
There you
Good times, good times.
And that's selling 500,000 copies, right? As of right now.
No, 500,000 was DC Nation. I think Action 1000 is it's getting close to 250,000.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. I think that's what
you're
it
right.
was.
Well, no, DC Nation did 1 million.
Oh, that's right. DC Nation did 1 million. Action 1000. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's hedging close to 500,000.
Yeah.
I can't keep all these numbers straight.
Yeah, so
your memory's better than mine, and you weren't even there to hear the message. It's all the stain and polyurethane fumes I've been huffing the last 2 days.
We talked a bit about Jim Lee earlier. Batman 45, cover B, Jim Lee, classic Batman Superman. That is an awesome cover.
Yeah.
My final Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 2, Issue 6 of 6. Of course, got a run of A's and B's on this one to go with my run of A's and B's for Volume 1 because I like the Turtles and Batman. This one not as good as the previous one, but still quite serviceable. I think I'm 2 behind. I've read through issue 3, maybe 4. I'm trying to think.
Is that your boy, Tinian?
It is my good friend, James Tinian IV.
That's your problem.
You shut your mouth. Harley Quinn 42. Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
Just Cho. We've got half of a cover. What's going on here?
Just white space, man.
He's done this before, though. He's done this before where he's done connecting covers. There was the like the playing card covers, I think. But, I mean, good Lord, this cover is a good one. You got Power Girl, Supergirl, Catwoman, Joker's face. You got, Hyena.
Do we know if it's been announced as a connecting?
You can see the same amount of words that I can.
Gotcha.
But she's a beaut. It's a beaut, Clark.
Get it and get 43 and hope they connect because you got a wicked looking Cho spread if you do.
And right underneath that, it's my birthday present, the one I've been waiting for. The Gotham City Sirens Omnibus is here.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that one is exciting for me. Mr. Miracle 8's coming out.
Is this the first new creator helmed Nightwing for Michael Moretti?
And Mink Young June with Jorge Jimenez on the And then we very shortly after that, I believe next month we start we're not double shipped anymore. We're single shipped at $3.99. So
is that the right direction?
We'll see. I mean, I didn't mind the double shipped if it's done well, but the fact is I was just disappointed twice in a month, and we'll just see if I'm disappointed once in a month from this point on. So,
well, then Drew in the DC Collectibles, it looks like your DC CoverGirl Supergirl by Joelle Jones will be here this week.
Oh, that is a good looking. That's a statue.
That's the one you ordered, right?
No, but that would be a nice one.
That's a very nice statue.
Super Sons and Superman. I was really this Bizarro storyline for Superman has been uneven. Not my favorite of the run, but Super Sons is great. So pretty soon it'll be all Man of Steel. What's the buzz on Bendis up there?
It's kind of a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of people that are excited, and then I think there's a few people that are excited, but it's clouded with a, man, I hope he doesn't do something goofy to Lois.
Yeah. Yeah. I think...
So we'll see.
I was reading the solicits for that series, the Man of Steel series. I think all of them come out in that previews and are solicited in that previews. And there's a Life Hangs in the Balance storyline on 5 or 6, I think. And I don't know if that, for Lois and Jonathan, and you really better not kill either one of them off. I will riot.
You'd have words?
I would.
All right, if that's all in DC Comics, let us head on down to D.E. Let's head on down to Dynamite. Nothing. Thanks for nothing. Anything else for anybody in DC?
I'm trying. No.
All right, let's try to dig for more gold in IDW.
Is Dynamite going to be the new IDW for you? Or there's just nothing there? Well, for both of us, really. What about Antar?
I clicked on it, and then I clicked off it.
Yeah, it's an epic story of one of history's greatest warriors and finest poets, Antar the Black Knight. And I was like, I don't think so.
I got nothing. Eric, you anything?
I'm looking, but I'm not seeing much.
Anybody reading this Black Crown Quarterly? That's like an anthology, an IDW anthology, like Dark Horse Presents was? No?
Not me, no.
Yeah, I was curious about it. But I haven't checked it out yet either.
I'm going to assume there's nothing else in IDW, and I'm going to move us along to Image.
Actually...
Oh, wait. Oh, I spoke too soon?
I did not see this on FOC, and I'm kicking myself. Half Past Danger hardcover, Dead to Reichs. Another one of those World War II stories.
Oh.
It's very interesting. Let's see. All that stands in the way are a hard-drinking Irishman, a British femme fatale, a Japanese ninja with a pet dinosaur, and an American Marine. Sounds interesting. Alternate history, pulp, science fiction inspired, over-the-top, two-fisted thriller that finds a world on the brink. Well, if you're into those kind of collected books, those hardcovers, it may be worth taking a quick peek at Half Past Danger hardcover, Dead to Reichs. There you go, Kyle. I found something.
Nice. Yeah.
And there is
might be something.
There is an artist edition for Joe Kubert. If you swim in those waters, for Tarzan and the Lion Man artist edition hardcover. Joe Kubert's pretty good.
And a little Sonic the Hedgehog here popping up, number 3.
Did that do well? That issue 1?
I renumber and redo.
Yeah, in our store we actually the folks that were subscribed to it remained subscribed. They jumped over to the new publisher, and then we actually added a couple folks who still have it on their list. And I think that a lot of that's due to the same writer that's doing it. So it was really just a license transfer as opposed to a full-on license and creative change.
All right, let's see what Image Comics has for us.
Now I'm all about the Black Monday murders. We got a trade. It is. Did you guys drop off this one?
It was too long.
Yes.
I didn't even get through the first issue.
It's so meaty and so much for the money.
So Hickman.
Everybody said it's great, but
it is. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, what was that last Hickman that I was just like, East of West? I was like, I can't do this anymore. I gotta get off of it. I'm that soured me on him. But if you're saying this is great, I might have to take another look.
I really like it. Hey, speaking of Lemire, we got Descender.
Yep.
that's cool. He's doing something different with cover Bs. It looks like we have a low robot variant by Dustin Nguyen. So something fun, having a little fun with cover Bs on them.
Yeah, they've usually just been that painted Nguyen style, which is good. But
there you go. Rucka is bringing us back to Lazarus. Not anything crazy, just Lazarus. Looks like we're getting back into things. Part 1 of the Prelude to Fracture.
yeah, 26 was only like a month ago, right? It wasn't that long ago.
I felt like we were into Secret Origins and Cold Case Files.
The plus 66 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, just for so long.
Yeah.
And now we're back into the main drag.
Yeah, and we're starting a new story arc. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. It is tough though because of the time that it takes for these to come out to get what the status quo is when you're reading it. You're like, oh, okay, where are we now? And it does take a little bit.
The number 1 from Image, Skyward. Number 1 written by Joe Henderson with art by Lee Garbett. Joe Henderson is the showrunner on Fox's Lucifer. And Lee Garbett is also from Lucifer and Loki Agents of Asgard. One day, gravity on Earth has suddenly become a fraction of what it is now. 20 years later, humanity has adapted to its new low-gravity reality.
I'm gonna check that out. I got a couple of those
Yeah,
coming.
I got one coming.
I thought it had a good look to it.
I love Rumble, but for some odd reason I'm not reading Rumble. I should jump in and read more Rumble. Anything else? Ooh, Infidel looked cool. I gotta remember to grab that.
Yeah, the first issue was good.
All right, Marvel, let's see what you got for us.
ASM 799.
The issue after 798, which was, of course, our big first appearance. And now we have a really nice Red Goblin cover.
Mm-hmm.
That'll sell really well.
Yes, it will.
And the Ramos Connecting is a nice cover, too. Man, a lot of good covers there.
How long is this Avengers thing going on?
I think it is, what did it get extended to? 12? 13 issues? Something like that. I think it's wrapping up shortly.
Have we seen what the plans are yet?
Yes, we saw them at C2E2, and that is Jason Aaron taking over Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
New number 1?
Yep. Yeah, that was solicited in the March solicits, I think.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Marvel Punisher Platoon trade.
And that was so good. That was such a good series. I want more of those, man. They just need to keep cranking those out because that was great.
Yep. Yeah, it goes right up there with the Max Fury and the Max Punisher run that Ennis did for sure.
And it had
a pretty good. At $18, a pretty good price on that. Issues 1 through 6.
And it had
Yep.
yeah, it had that. It reminded me of Sergeant Rock. It was just so perfect. It was awesome.
We have the second print of the True Believer reprint of ASM 300, which is the gold numbers instead of the traditional red and black.
Yeah, I think I got one of those coming.
I think you might.
Won't miss out again.
You know, I bet you I could call Marvel and say, can you do like 17 printings of this, and you'd get one of each printing, wouldn't you? just to avoid the razzing.
Yes. What are you talking about? I have 300 right here. I'm looking at it. In 17 frames on my wall.
Of course, Weapon H number 2 coming out. We talked on when we looked at our numbers at Weapon H number 1 hovering up in the 90,000 copies for issue number 1. So I'm guessing issue 2 will come down a little bit, but there we are. Versus the Wendigo.
I didn't read it. Any good?
Derek read it. He seemed to really enjoy it.
That's cool.
All right. Anything else in Marvel?
This is the X-Men Gold is the beginning of the wedding ramp up. If you care.
All right, let's head into our smaller, which is our Onis, our Aftershocks, and everybody else's.
Can't say Boom and Dynamite anymore.
I know. I almost said Boom, and I said no, no, no.
There's Ballad of Sang 2, which you enjoyed that.
Hey, there you go.
Enjoyed that first issue, or got that first issue. I don't know if you enjoyed it or not. If only they'd put out a couple covers for Belladonna Fire Fury number 5.
Man, nothing's jumping at me today. What is mainstream number 1? Zenoscope.
What's it about?
There are people on this earth that do not belong. It's up to Chicago detective and covert interdimensional police force to send them back where they came from. Don't miss the brand new 5-issue miniseries from the creative minds of Michael Dolce, Talent Caldwell, Tony Moy, and Darren Sanchez.
That sounds okay.
Yeah.
We have Her Infernal Descent number 1 from Aftershock, written by Lonnie Nadler and Zach Thompson, with art by Kyle Charles. A Tale of Loss, told in 5 parts. This is going to be a bit of a downer. Any good mom could march through the inferno of hell to get her family back. Unable to cope with the burden of grief, a middle-aged mom descends the 9 circles of hell to retrieve her forsaken family. Sounds kind of...
It could be an upper.
It could be. Could be a tale. Yeah, she can find her, get her out of there. That sounds kind of...
It's like every good Hallmark movie. There's got to be some tragedy, and then it all ends happy.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounded kind of interesting to me, so...
If it doesn't work happy, do not hold it against me.
Yes.
I was just being a goof.
Trying to think positively.
That's right.
Live Work number 1
Waste.
was one of our Comics for Fun and Profit picks a while back from Ad House
That
Books.
is correct.
Welcome to the 2007 New York, a year before the financial crash, in which a provisional community of young artists attempt to come together to carve out a space for themselves and launch their own careers, all while toiling in the margins of the booming New York art world. I really like the cover.
Wasted Space number 1 from Vault Comics by Michael Morikai, with Hayden Sherman on art and a Marguerite Savage cover. Billy Bain is a prophet who got it all wrong, and the galaxy has been burning ever since. All he wants is to waste away in the darkest corner of space with his best pal, Dust, a supercharged Fookbot. F-U-Q. But when a new prophet comes calling, Billy is summoned to save the galaxy he's at least partially responsible for destroying. Too bad he couldn't care less.
We also have Survival Fetish number 1, another of our picks from our Kowabunga bundle a while ago. This is written by is from Black Mask. It's written by Patrick Kindlon, with art by Antonio Fuso, and it's downtown Honolulu is a sniper alley, and Sahir runs it better than anyone. He's a local celebrity for transporting medicine and information across a no man's land occupied by militia and street gangs.
That's the one I liked.
Yes, we like that one.
Isn't the next one, the next number 1 that was also on your list?
Yeah, they're all coming out the same week. That's crazy. Tap Dance Killer. I think Kyle rolled his eyes when I picked this one. This is from Hero Tomorrow Comics, written by Ted Sikora, with art by Nicholas Harrison. Actress Nikki St. Clair was the sweetest gal in the city until she was cast in a horror show musical as the Tap Dance Killer. Now unable to shake the role, the 1920s-esque bizarre mobster assassin is out on the streets dealing damage with a theatrical flair that leaves them, quite literally, slain in the aisles. Plus the first appearance of a knockout new villain.
Ooh.
That's crazy that our picks all landed on the same week.
Yeah, that is weird.
It's like we planned it,
That's
or someone delayed some things.
Yeah.
There's a second printing of the Wilds from Black Mask. It was a really good first issue. And if you missed it, you can get that second printing.
Anything else from the back halves?
Yes. For those of you that were big fans of Ready Player One, I just wanted to call attention to the Art of Ready Player One hardcover. That is out there. And let's see. Well, I'm just going to do some little maths on the fly really quick here. It's a $45 cover price. Interesting. It's already out of stock at Diamond.
Dang. I didn't see that. What's it under? I can't find it. A? Art.
No, it's not.
It's not under that, so suck it.
I think we're just looking at comics. He must be looking at something else.
Yeah, I just went underneath comics. It ends at Zombie Tramp, and then it goes to magazines, and then books.
Books. Gotcha.
We never go any.
We don't normally
never
venture into them.
that
They're
far.
reading books.
Wow, reading stuff. That's neat.
What's them booksy things? Yeah, like there's a Star Wars Last Shot Han and Lando hardcover novel that's coming out. Yeah, the big one was just calling out that the Art of Ready Player One, and it's got a little P, which means there's preview pages. Oh, damn!
It was pretty visually gorgeous, that movie. I liked it.
Yeah, click the little P and see if you think it's still visually gorgeous. Anyway, so yeah, I just wanted to call that out.
It was pretty rad.
So yeah.
All right, guys. If there's nothing else, this is the point where I hold your feet to the flame and ask you what your pick of the week is. What's the book to go into your local comic book shops? Make sure you grab a copy of, because we think that one's going to jump.
Just a quick question: were there any variants that anyone wanted to call out from the variants and new printings list?
Didn't know a lot of them. None of them.
Okay.
Aren't some of those on the FOC?
Not for this week.
Because some of these are advanced variants. See, I get
Some
so
are.
confused.
Yeah, this listing is really goofy because it's by publisher alphabetically, not by date.
Yeah, and it has that Batman second printing that I want. Look at those Thanos, man. Dang. This 13 is going to a fourth and a fifth printing in subsequent weeks. 14 is going to a fourth and a fifth printing in subsequent weeks, and 17 is going to a second, and 18 is going to a second.
That's a lot of Thanos.
That's a lot of Thanos. But did you end up finishing that? Did you read 18? It ended so cool.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Hey, Brothers Dracul went to a second print. Nice.
That's a good call there.
Yeah. Oh, crap, there's a Thanos annual. I forgot about that. Anything jump out to you, Eric, on the printing, or the variant printings?
Yeah, I had one, and then I've scrolled past it. I got to come back and find it. I should have written it down. Oh, where the heck was it?
Did you look at that Dracul? Is it the same cover?
I don't know.
There's no cover image.
Yeah, they're not letting us in on their secret.
Well, I can't find whatever it was that I had, so clearly it wasn't earth-shattering.
Well, my pick for the week then is Survival Fetish, and I'm going to go
That was the only one of those I liked.
And I'm going to go with the cover B in honor of Jason from Hawaii, because it has greetings from Hawaii on it. So I'm going to go with cover B.
I much prefer the cover A.
I'm going to go with Tap Dance Killer. I think, honestly, that one sounds pretty fun to me. So of all the ones, that's the one I'm picking up.
And I'm going with Action Comics 1000 because why not?
Because you and 500,000 of your friends are the only ones that'll have it.
And Harley Quinn 42B cover, get that. Get both pieces of that when the other one comes out.
Excellent.
Actually, I might. I don't think he's got 43 posted yet. I didn't think to do a search for it before. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't know it was there until I saw it and said, hey, this looks like half a cover. You'll have that. But we want to thank you for tagging along with Eric, Drew, and myself through comics originally releasing on April 18th, 2018. Of course, feel free to find us on any of your Facebooks, your Twitters, your Instagrams, and everything else. Drop us a line at our Gmail account. All of this information can be found at comicsfunprofit.com. Eric, anything else additional?
No, I'll just say if anyone's interested in picking up those variants that we've got or wants information about our mail order subscription stuff, go ahead and email me, Eric at Kowabunga Comics, and I will be more than happy to either place the order for you or send you information on how you can join in the group and be one of the mail order subscribers that we have.
Eric with a C, Kowabunga with a K.
That's right. Hey, that's actually kind of catchy.
We want to thank Eric for being here with us and giving us his comic shop expertise in this week's Comings Out. So, for Eric, for Drew, and for myself, see you.